I think it's time as gay men for us to have a collective conversation about how gay loneliness can reshape or impact or even ruin our impression of what commitment looks like. Now, I'm talking about this because I think it would benefit the community. I think it could benefit people beyond just gay men. I think it would benefit a lot of the LGBTQ plus community since many segments of the community suffer from isolation or loneliness, some of which is far worse than what gay men experience because of maybe, like especially the trans community or like intersectional communities. But I think on TikTok, there's like been this huge conversation about gay men. I'll focus on them since that is my realm of experience, since that is uh, what I am. But I've seen so many people like being hypercritical of people who can't commit in a relationship. And it used to be something I was very hypercritical of. I just thought that like people were just being, ridiculous. But I've come to realize in my own mental health journey that most of us, if not all, struggle with gay loneliness in some way because we've all had some sort of history with gay loneliness. And I've talked about this in this video series many times where I've said that many of us gay men or anybody else in the LGBTQ plus community, we go through so many years of our lives pretending we're someone we're not, and then we end up coming out later and trying to catch up on this lost time. But because we've not had those formative relationships, we don't really know how to do that, nor do we understand what commitment looks like. And mind you, I don't necessarily think that commitment is for everyone. Like, I mean, there are many people who have, open relationships, who, have their own level of commitment, their own definitions of commitment. And they make it work wonderfully. And I think it's important to understand that commitment in many ways is a spectrum, very much like anything else, right? So, and I've been in a couple of open relationships before. They've not worked for me, which is why I have chosen to be in a monogamous relationship. But I think the people who've been hypercritical of, people not understanding commitment come in two forms. Either they are the people who are just really hypercritical and dismissive of open relationships, or they are people who don't realize that not everyone has worked on their history or struggle with gay loneliness. And like, for example, I saw someone recently criticizing on TikTok, like a lot of the urban and suburban circuit gays who are like going to like these different like parties and festivals and just, like they kind of get with somebody, but then they break their heart because they discover that, they are not really a committed person. And I think that, yeah, I think a person's reasons for being upset at that type of person is completely valid because you should own your struggle and your history with gay loneliness. You should work on that. You need to be able to discern it and unpack it. That way you don't accidentally weaponize it against other people, because I do think there are a lot of gay men who weaponize their gay loneliness, or their gay loneliness cycles into like this flight instinct where like they've not really had representation of what it means to be in a relationship or to have commitment. So the moment they see the early signs of it, they're like, nope, see you later, right? And again, like if that's someone's preference, that's fine. But like there are many people who experience this, but they don't really know exactly how to define it or how to describe it. And there's a lot of privilege among gay men too. And I have found in my time that, many gay men may have like the money, the privilege, the prestige, the face, the body. Um, but when you strip all of that away, you realize that they just have a facade based on fear, right? A fear of connection, because many of us never got to experience those crucial moments of connection when we were younger. And you just kind of slowly grow to realize that when you strip all of that away with some of these people, like, nothing is left but a person who is unable to sit with themselves in silence. Sitting with oneself in silence is terrifying, especially when the only silence you ever had was the silence, the overwhelming silence we had when we were in the closet, right? So, like, in some ways, are we really running for commitment, or are we running from that deep well of silence we once experienced when we were at our most isolated, right? I am so grateful and privileged that I'm at this point in my life where I've had therapy, and mind you, therapy is not for everybody, but I've been able to successfully unpack my own battle with gay loneliness. I at one point in time was afraid to make connections with people because I I was afraid of being hurt, and I ended up hurting people because, like, I would, you know, kind of lead them to believe that I was at the same place, but then, it would be just too much for me or too scary for me, and I would, like, pull away, right? And now I've gotten to the point where I have found a person where we both have worked on that struggle, we both have resolved it, and we both have, you know, really just fell into one another like puzzle pieces. That sounds so cliche, but, like, it's worked, and I really do think it's a testament to not only working through that gay loneliness, but having quality and positive representation of what commitment is, and allowing ourselves the grace to lean into that discomfort when we feel it, instead of running away from that discomfort, right? When it comes to commitment, romance, intimacy, name it, right? Anyway, I don't know if this makes sense, but thank you for listening. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You know that my series about gay loneliness will always be ongoing because I think so long as there's hate in this world and so long as we are subjected to that isolation, there's always going to be room for that conversation. So click like for the algorithm. That helps me immeasurably. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And thank you so much for supporting my work. Have a good rest of your night.